Let's suppose everybody gets elected, right? What's the one bill you would introduce, and how would you build bipartisan support for that?
That's a good question.
Who wants to go first?
So very first bill you'd
Very
introduce.
first
Yes, I'll go first.
Universal health care. I think that is far and away the easiest issue. Excuse me?
Jeromy likes it.
The easiest issue that we have as a constituency across the entire U.S. of saying, this is what we want, this is what we deserve, we're going to get it. And when you look at Congress right now, they're already having this mealy-mouthed, okay, well, why don't we just save Obamacare? And it's not, well, what about all of the issues that Obamacare had? And then you look at the other side of the spectrum, and it's, let's get rid of Obamacare. And it's, well, what about all the good that Obamacare did? And there's no real step forward for healthcare as I currently see it. I think if we were to introduce a bill that had universal health care, covered abortions, covered dental work, covered eyeglasses, covered everything relating to health, I feel like that would get easily 80% support across the entire nation if you frame that question in such a way as, oh, it's not going to be an added tax onto you. It's going to eliminate all of these costs that people were just gouging for. And that's something that people don't really make that correlation to. Unless you have some sort of crippling medical debt, you just kind of see that as this issue that other people have. But when you look at what is the number one issue when you look at GoFundMe and other crowdsourcing websites, medical bills.
Yep.
Medical bills.
Biggest health insurer in the United States right now is GoFundMe.
In no other industrialized nation is that acceptable. Ever. They have universal health care for people because they're recognizing that it's something that we all deserve. As part of a resident of where we're living, you deserve universal health care. You deserve to be taken care of because it's an investment in your future. If you are more productive, if you are healthier, you're going to earn more. It's a basic financial fact. As soon as you start getting back into, okay, well, now you're too old and you can't work, how are you going to take care of them? Well, they should have earned enough money to retire, and what if they didn't? What about all the people who are homeless and unable to make these medical bills? What are you going to do about them? This pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality doesn't work for every single issue. Healthcare is one of those things where it's a perverse incentive to have any financial motive.
So what I'd extend to the rest of the candidates here and anybody else who watches this later online is, will you take the American Promise Pledge and vow to support the bill to add a 20th Amendment to our Constitution that eliminates corporate financing of our elections? I've already signed it. It's run heavily by Nina Turner of Our Revolution, so I'm sure you're very familiar with this. So the American Promise. And I would definitely send that out. So I don't know if you.
I haven't heard about it. I've heard things along that notion, yes, not the name of it. And frankly, I think citizen allocated taxes takes that over. However, I'd still be willing to support it. Any step forward we should do.
Okay.
Already have.
Not surprised.
Yeah. So what's interesting for me is the bill that I would want to propose is actually already out there. It's the College for All Act. I am so all about student debt alleviation. We are sitting at $1.5 trillion in student debt. That is a monster of a goal.
It's a bigger.
It's bigger than credit card debt. It's the largest pool of debt in the United States right now for anybody. It is going to burst. And on the campaign trail, we had every candidate talking, oh, the student debt problem. Then they get elected and it's silence. We are not seeing anything about it anymore. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating for those of us like my husband and I who shell out between $600 and $800 a month for student debt every month. And we're on the low end of the spectrum for those payments for two people. It's ridiculous. This bill is completely unsustainable, or this bubble is completely unsustainable. We have to start building momentum behind debt alleviation for students and access to higher education for students. We can't have conversations about building up our workforce without talking about access to education. We can't talk about building a solar grid that we're going to be investing money into if we don't have people who are educated in these things who can go and do the work for it. They have to go together. People have to have access to education, and not just college. We have to have access to vocational schools. We have to have access to technical schools, to work programs. These are all so important. I grew up as part of a generation who was told, you go to college, you graduate high school, you go to college, get your degree, and enter the workforce. There was no other option. We didn't talk about trades. We didn't talk about apprenticeships. We didn't talk about any of that. I grew up with my dad's actually from the United Kingdom. He's from London. He talked about how he went on to the university track, but his brother went on to the vocational track. My uncle is an amazing mechanic. He does electrician work. He does mechanic work. He has a motorcycle sitting in the middle of the room because he's rebuilding it during his retirement. It's so cool, but we don't have those kinds of tracks here because it's so expensive to do a collegiate education, and we don't push vocational and technical schools enough. And when we do, they're usually these for-profit colleges whose accreditation means literally nothing. So the bill that I would propose is already there, and the best way to build bipartisan support is show people evidence that it would work. Talk to the people, don't just talk to the representatives. Robert mentioned about bringing these conversations into these districts and talking to voters about them. Just because I represent Washington's 9th district doesn't mean I don't want the best for Mississippi's 1st. It doesn't mean that I don't want to support the people in Texas's 23rd. It means that I need to go there because I have this knowledge and education. I need to go there and bring that to them and tell them about this bill and why this could make their lives better. If their representative isn't going to step up and tell this information to them, we need people who are willing to go out there and be uncomfortable and do it for them. When you have enough people with knowledge who are armed with like, hey, wait a minute, this is actually a great idea. They can call their representatives, and it's way more powerful to have people calling their representatives and making these demands of them and demanding they change and support these bills. That's going to be far more instrumental in swaying Republicans across the aisle onto these bills than anything else. But I think that's probably the bill I would want to get behind at least, and not get behind lightly. I have a lot of energy. I'm sure I've displayed that a little bit, and I want to put that energy where it's important and go out there and talk to people about these bills, arm people with facts and knowledge and education, and share that with them, address their concerns. If their representatives won't step up to the plate, what I want to do at a federal level is represent the United States of America and people from Washington's 9th district, which means I can be from Washington's 9th district and then go out into these areas and talk to them and help them, because my goal is to make the country better for all people, not just one small section.
Okay, so I'm going to sidestep the question a little bit in that we've all discussed issues that we all agree on, getting funding out, getting universal health care. I'm going to say the first bill I would push that was an issue we haven't discussed is a restructure of government. I don't see any reason why House and Senate spend the majority of their lives in Washington, D.C. I think that the Capitol building has effectively become a lobbyist's brothel. That's where we get everybody there so they can go door to door and buy candidates. I think if you're going to be a representative for part of Washington State, you should spend most of your time in your district around the people you represent. If you're going to be a senator for Alaska, Hawaii, California, Washington, Vermont, you should spend more of your time around your people. The majority of the business of Congress could be done just like I'm doing this with you. I'm talking to you from the other side of the state, and you can hear me just fine. If I flew to Bangladesh, I could pull out my credit card, go to an ATM, and pull out money. There is no reason that with the technology we have today, that representatives have to spend more of their life in Washington, D.C. than around the people they represent. So yes, I will vote for the universal health care bill. I will vote for a constitutional amendment to get to remove the rights of citizenship from corporations, which includes Citizens United. But one of the first bills that I would propose that we haven't discussed yet is a restructuring of the requirements for caucus, the requirements for General Assembly, so that the majority of our votes could be logged from secure internet communications from Washington State. This does a couple of things. One, it gets your butt in the seat around the people that you represent. Two, because of electronic communications, it means the vast majority of these discussions would have records. It means that these votes would no longer be the ayes have it, the nays have it. So you can't hold your representative accountable for, you voted for terrible Hate the Children Act. No, you can't say that. That was a voice vote. The Stock Act, the Stop Insider Trading laws. This was to prevent congressmen and senators and their staffs from using the information of government to enrich themselves. This was passed. Barack Obama signed in the Oval Office. There was this big ceremony. Everybody clapped and cheered. A couple of days later, an anonymous voice vote was held in the middle of the night that was Senate Bill blah, blah, blah number. This name means nothing. They said, ayes, nays, the ayes have it, game over. There was no record of who voted to strip basically all of the enforcement teeth out of that Stock Act. That doesn't happen if there's an electronic record. That doesn't happen if I sit at my computer and there's a Y next to my name or an N next to my name, and that record is public domain. We also have this case where when a bill that's 470 pages is released, there's no way the American public tolerates. This was posted to my inbox 38 minutes ago, and I'm supposed to be voting yes or no on a 470-page bill. That is not how government should run. That's not how it would run if there was much more transparency to everyone about your representative got a 470-page bill on their desk and was willing to vote on it 28 minutes later. There is no way they managed to read through that bill and make sure there wasn't a clause in there that required every citizen of Washington State to stand on their head while filing their taxes. Sorry for the tirade, but that's beyond the issues that we've all agreed on. Universal health care, because it's a best investment policy. Infrastructure bill, because investing in the United States makes a lot more sense than bombing other countries. A national power grid that is renewable, because that invests locally, because that separates the United States from being dependent on the international oil market. It also means we don't have to keep two carrier groups protecting the oil routes from the Middle East to Asia. Most oil from the Middle East gets transferred to Asia. Why is the United States Navy guarding that route? Because we're dependent on the international oil market. If we have an independent grid, if we have solar and wind driving most of our energy, we don't have to worry about giant fluctuations in supply and demand for oil. It also means that other petroleum products like fertilizer, like pesticides, whether you like them or not, like plastics, all of these things become a ton cheaper when we're not burning it. They also don't go into the atmosphere. That's it. That's my first bill, is to get representatives representing the people around the people they represent at home most of their time.